The workers at Blackstone Logistics feared one office more than any storm, deadline, or overnight shipment. Every new employee lasted only days before quitting. Some walked out angry. Others simply disappeared without explanation after one meeting with the company's operations director, Victor Hale. People called him impossible behind his back. Victor demanded perfection from everyone inside the massive shipping warehouse. He hated excuses, ignored complaints, and expected workers to move faster than machines. His cold personality made employees nervous whenever he stepped onto the warehouse floor each morning. No one understood why the company's owner continued protecting him. At 38, Daniel Brooks desperately needed stable work after losing nearly everything during the previous year. His wife passed away unexpectedly from illness, leaving him alone raising his young son Caleb while struggling to survive financially. After weeks of searching, Daniel accepted a night shift maintenance position at Blackstone Logistics, despite hearing terrifying stories about Victor Hale from former employees throughout Chicago. "Don't expect kindness," one worker warned him quietly. "That man destroys people." But Daniel had no choice anymore. Every evening after school, Caleb waited quietly inside the small security office near the warehouse entrance while his father repaired conveyor systems, forklifts, and damaged shipping equipment throughout the massive facility. On Daniel's first night, Victor arrived exactly at midnight, wearing a black tailored coat and carrying a clipboard filled with inspection reports. The warehouse instantly became silent when employees noticed him walking through the loading area. Victor stopped beside Daniel immediately. "You're the new maintenance guy?" he asked coldly. Daniel nodded respectfully. Victor pointed toward a broken conveyor system surrounded by scattered packages and electrical tools. "Fix it within 30 minutes or go home permanently." Without another word, Victor walked away. Several workers nearby exchanged sympathetic looks. Most new employees failed Victor's impossible demands before sunrise. But Daniel calmly opened his toolbox and studied the damaged system carefully. Instead of rushing nervously, he traced the electrical failure step by step until discovering a hidden software malfunction inside the conveyor controls. 22 minutes later, the entire system restarted perfectly. Workers stared in shock. Victor returned silently and inspected the repaired conveyor without emotion. After several seconds, he simply handed Daniel another assignment, twice as difficult, before disappearing again into the warehouse darkness. The pattern continued every night. Victor criticized every tiny mistake, demanded impossible deadlines, and pushed Daniel harder than anyone else inside the company. Yet, unlike previous workers, Daniel never argued or complained. He quietly completed every task while ignoring insults and pressure completely. Soon employees began noticing something strange. Victor watched Daniel constantly. Sometimes the operations director stood silently from upstairs office windows, observing Daniel repairing equipment below. Other times, Victor deliberately created impossible mechanical problems only to see how Daniel responded under pressure. One freezing night, a catastrophic electrical failure suddenly shut down half the warehouse during a massive overnight shipping contract. Conveyor belts stopped moving while emergency alarms echoed throughout the building. Millions of dollars in deliveries risked being delayed before sunrise. Managers panicked immediately. Victor ordered every engineer and technician into the control room, but nobody understood why the main systems collapsed simultaneously. Then Daniel quietly noticed something everyone else missed. The entire failure originated from one hidden backup circuit installed decades earlier beneath the warehouse basement. Without hesitation, Daniel crawled through flooded maintenance tunnels beneath the building while freezing water poured around damaged electrical systems, dangerously sparking inside the darkness. Above-ground workers watched nervously as time disappeared. Even Victor finally looked concerned. After nearly 40 exhausting minutes, the warehouse suddenly roared back to life. Lights flashed on, conveyor systems restarted, shipping lines moved again across the enormous facility exactly minutes before the contract deadline expired. The building erupted with cheers. Daniel climbed slowly from the basement, soaked completely in freezing water and covered in grease. Exhaustion showed clearly across his face, but he remained calm, while workers applauded around him proudly. Victor approached silently through the crowd. For several long seconds, nobody spoke. Then the impossible happened. Victor Hale extended his hand toward Daniel Brooks in front of the entire warehouse. Employees froze in disbelief. "I've tested every maintenance director this company hired for 7 years," Victor admitted quietly. "Most people quit the moment things become difficult." Daniel stared silently. Victor continued speaking, while workers gathered around, listening carefully. "This company nearly collapsed after my younger brother died because someone ignored critical system failures to avoid working overtime. Since then, I stopped trusting anyone who chose comfort over responsibility." The warehouse became completely silent. Victor revealed he pushed employees mercilessly because he feared trusting the wrong people again. Every failed worker reminded him of the mistake that cost his brother's life years earlier during a warehouse accident nobody prevented. Then Victor looked directly at Daniel. "But you stayed!" For the first time, emotion appeared inside Victor's cold expression. "You protected this company tonight when everyone else panicked," he said quietly. "That's something I haven't seen in a very long time." The next morning, Blackstone Logistics announced Daniel Brooks as the company's new head of operations maintenance, with the highest salary inside the entire department. Employees celebrated across the warehouse. But the biggest surprise came later that evening, when Victor personally visited Daniel's small apartment, carrying dinner for Caleb and several brand new engineering books, after learning the boy dreamed of becoming an inventor someday. Caleb smiled brighter than Daniel had seen in months. Slowly, people inside Blackstone Logistics began understanding the truth about Victor Hale. He was never impossible because he enjoyed hurting people. He became impossible because grief, guilt, and fear convinced him that weakness always destroys the things people love most. And the single father everyone expected to quit after 1 week became the first person strong enough to remind Victor Hale how to trust someone again.